Hey guys, thank you for clicking onto this video and thanks for watching. Please subscribe and press that like button. Share the video, please share this video. Now, the guy I'm going to talk about today, if you haven't heard about him, especially if you're black, you must be hiding under a rock. Please, once you finish watching this video, Google about what this guy is doing. His name is Ibrahim Traore. He's a president right now of a country known as Burkina Faso. You know, Burkina Faso, I think, means the upright man or upright people. It was named by a young man who is my role model, like Thomas Sankara. He met a very bad ending, but he stood up for the people. Now, why is this man so popular among black people? You know, people in Africa have loved Traore more than they love their own presidents. If you go to Kenya or any other African country, you're going to find young people wearing Traore t-shirt, Traore paintings. If you go to Kenya where they paint their matatus, you're going to find they have paintings of Traore on their buses, not Luo. Paintings of Traore on their buses. Some of them have even some places they even have billboard signs of Traore, not their president. You know, so you gotta ask yourself, like, what's going on here? Why is it that you got these people love Traore more than they love their presidents? Now, let me tear this thing apart, wide open, because I want you to start thinking, and hopefully from this you can learn about what sort of leadership. The next time you're voting in your country in Africa, I want you to consider the few things you're going to see Traore doing, and what the people in your country are promising to do, and how they are going to do it. It's not about the what are you promising, it's how are you going to deliver. That's the second question. You know, so what's Traore done so far? Traore has done amazing things. He's kicked out the French army. First of all, I gotta say there's a big difference between, excuse me, what's going on? Between how former French colonies are run in Africa and former British colonies. The French colonies are very in your face. They're still there. They run everything, and they make you know they run everything. Whereas in the British side of Africa, the British do it dubiously. You know, they left industries like companies and whatever that run these economies and pay taxes to England, running in these countries, and the people don't realize that, and they've created this channel that prevents other, like the local people, from doing so well, or from building up real industries. And Traore has come in and he stopped that in this former French colony of Burkina Faso. Kicked the French soldiers out. First of all, if you're an independent country, you should not have foreign soldiers on your soil. You should have your own soldiers. You know, you should not have military bases. So if you want to know who the enemies of the continent are, those who've allowed military bases of foreign countries to be based in Africa. Those people, those guys, those countries, you know they are weak. Okay? So they've done that. They've kicked out the French. He's opened up business to his local people. He's paid off all the debt that the country was owing. He's not receiving aid from any European country. He's told them to literally get stuff. And the country is on the righteous path. He's removed, you know how in Africa, those lawyers, they like to wear those horse, it's just got blonde hair, and it just makes them look ridiculous, but they'll be there. I'm educated. I'm a lawyer, brother. You know those people. Basically they're saying, I'm brainwashed. When I put this on, brother, I'm white. I don't want you to develop. That's basically what they're saying. That's exactly what they're saying. He's kicked that out. He's brought in indigenous attire. He's also allowed people to produce things that they can eat and eat things they produce, wear things they can produce. That's what he's pretty much done. And he's brought in the teaching of our culture. The Songhai Empire. The Songhai Empire was a big empire in West Africa. Songhai Empire, the Ghana Empire. They are bringing up these teachings to their Lord to remind them that, remember, back in the day, we owned our gold mines. We mined our own gold. And this is why, up to now, the richest man to have ever lived, I know they're trying to tell you it's Elon Musk. Elon Musk today is worth $400 million. They've been saying $1 billion. They've been saying Mansa Musa was worth $400 billion since the 70s. I think could be even in the 1900s. What's the price of gold today? Gold just went up 30% last year. So now Mansa Musa is worth $2 trillion. No one is going to catch him. Not even Elon Musk. Not even when he has Starlink coming. Because the value of the money is going down so bad that it's meaningless. Just yesterday, $1 trillion got wiped out of the American stock market. $1 trillion. Just like that. Money is different. That's why no one is ever going to catch Mansa Musa. You have to own half the world for you to catch up with him. I know they're going to try to say, oh, it's now Elon Musk. It's not. But anyway, let me not, that's a story for another day. However, they were able to do that. And you know what they did? They were smart about it. All the foreign people, the Arabs, the people that came there to trade, they never showed them where the gold mines were. That's smart. But today, you go to these countries, it's all foreign companies mining. So, and there's a difference there. Now that it's all the foreign companies mining, people are poor. People are poor because all the money is leaving through their natural resources. We haven't woken up to realizing that these things are ours. And our mines should be owned by us. Okay, let's say we can have buried gold. Like buried gold they were mining in Mali. Right? Cool. But the way you do what the Saudis have done. The company called Saudi Aramco, it just used to be Aramco, and it used to be an American company. And they went and started digging oil in Saudi Arabia. And the Saudi Arabia ended up buying the company. You see how smart they were there? They ended up buying the company. And today, it's one of the, if not the biggest company in the world. So we're going to have buried gold camp, but guess what? We're going to own this. You have to own art. You have to own it. And we're going to do business, real business. But most of the time, these people don't want to do that because they know once you do that, you're going to become rich. They don't want you to become rich because once you become rich, then you're never going to need them. If you go to the Middle East, the cities are way better than most cities in Europe and in the US. No crime, no homeless people. They've created their own cities. Do I agree with how they run their affairs? No. But at the same time, I don't live there. I'm pretty sure people who live there, most of them are happy. I don't necessarily agree, but I can give them credit to say, you're right, you've done something. You've done something better than we have done in Africa. So this is what Ibrahim Traore is trying to do. He's not promoting religion. I've never said this guy say, oh, Jesus Christ, hallelujah. If he slaps you one cheek, give them the other cheek. He's never said that. He's promoting African culture. We have our own God. We believe in ourselves. Because when you have a foreign God, you don't look at yourself the same way. You look at yourself in a very degenerative way because you're not worshiping a person, a deity that looks like you. And no one, this is the one thing Africans are tired of. They're tired of being weak. No one wants to belong to a weak person. Why do you think people love Mike Tyson? Because Mike Tyson was kicking everybody's ass. Everyone wants to belong to the winning team. Everyone wants to belong to the strong team. Africans are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We are sick and tired of having these leaders preaching to us all the time, telling us about, you gotta be Jesus and you gotta do all this crazy stuff. No, we don't want that. You go and do your own shit, Jesus stuff. We're not interested in that. We want something that gives people power, that encourages people and empowers people, gives people strength. That's what we want. That's what we are interested in. And that's what Ibrahim Traore is bringing. And you can see almost every black kid, not just a kid, every black person is praying for this young man to succeed. And he's on the right path because almost every week there's a death rate. is escaping an assassination. Because, our people are so far gone in there, they don't realize the value of this guy. That's why the people from Europe don't even have to do much for an African person to kill another African person. And send his whole country back to slavery by the French. But let's pray for this man. And we ain't praying to Jesus. Because Jesus never did nothing for us. And we ain't praying to Yahweh, some desert god from the Middle East. We're not doing that. I'd rather we pray to our ancestors. Because everyone else is. Jesus is somebody's ancestors and they pray to him. He's not my ancestor. But anyway, that story is for other days. Right? So he's doing an amazing job. Now, why is he going to do better than most African presidents? Let me tell you something. There's a matrix. Let me break this up for you. There's a matrix. I know people like to use that word a lot. But what I mean by a matrix is this. During the Berlin Conference, there was no African there. When they divided up the countries and they set up the rules. The Africans who were there, who these rules were made for, they just had to follow the rules. Now, when you look in the G20, the G7, the G20 recently included Africans. But the Africans had to fight to be included in the G20. Why is that? Because all the rules and everything that was done in that group was to make sure that Africa never developed. And then you got the G7, right? When you have the G7, there's no African countries there. So the rules are made and designed, all these companies and whatever, they sponsor these things. And they're designed to make sure that you stay poor and they make money off you. And what happens that they go now, you see all these embassies. If the US embassy is giving, let's say South Africa, they're helping them with maybe $1 billion a year. So they say, if you want this $1 billion, this is what we want in return. But because these leaders haven't woken up to realize that what these guys want in return is worth $20 billion, they're looking at the money. Because they know when that money comes in, they can spend $30 million on building a house, while their people remain impoverished. That's the matrix. So the matrix is pulling the strings, and the African is not pulling any string. He's been pulled apart. Move this way. He's a puppet. The puppet master, the matrix. Move this way. Move this way. That's why you're going to realize that the rules are not designed to help the African. Look at what happened within ECOWAS. Instead of the countries trying to support this young man, they turned against him. And you see French President Macron going to visit these countries, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire. And when they have this ECOWAS meeting, they are just talking about the rules and everything that Macron has made up in France, and he's telling them what to do. And they go there, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, and they walk out with $100,000 each. They just sold their people. They just sold trillions of dollars from their people into the hands of these foreign countries. That's the matrix. That's how these guys operate. And that's why Traore is trying to stop. So let's stop this. And the way you stop it, if you want peace in this world, you have to become what you deserve. If you want peace, have a strong army. Have a strong army. And make alliances with people that have your best interest. And in this case, it's Russia. I've never seen Russia get entangled up in some foreign countries or trying to rip people off. When African countries were fighting for independence, Russia that was giving them guns and helping them out. And in the end, they never asked for nothing. When white South Africa and white Zimbabwe could not allow Zambia to transport the resources, copper, which was the blood of the country, through their ports, who came to the aid of the Zambian people? It was the Chinese. They put up what is known as the Tazara rail line from Zambia to use the Dar es Salaam port. And they never got anything. It was the biggest project ever done in Africa. Before now, this was in the 70s. $500 million it cost Mao Zedong. And it cost also the lives of hundreds of Chinese people. But they never asked for nothing. They just wanted to help us out. The problem is the African people couldn't even look after the rail line. Right now, it's almost dilapidated. It's an embarrassment to us. Because, first of all, the leaders that we have, they are not there for the people. They are there focusing the metrics. And to some extent, you can't even blame these people. It's very hard to get out of the matrix because the matrix gets wired into, becomes part of our brain wiring as we grow up. The worshiping of Jesus is one of them. We go to church. We go to the schools. The way they've designed the schools in Africa is the same way they designed them during colonial system. Nothing has changed. So when these people become leaders, they're too far gone to the West. They know nothing about African history. They look at everything African history in the bad light because they're so westernized in their ways. That's why you see, like, the president of Zambia, if you follow him on YouTube, on social media, Facebook and Meta and all this stuff, he's just posting Bible verses after Bible verse after Bible verse. Slap the other cheek, get the other cheek. Stuff like that. How is that guy going to negotiate and get a better deal for his people? That's weakness. If you're going to let someone slap you one cheek and you give them the other cheek, that's just stupid. If someone slaps you on one cheek, make sure you chop their head off so they never have to do that again. That's how you do it. If someone tries to put sanctions on you, instead of going out there and start begging, oh, please remove the sanctions, we are suffering. No. Find another way to survive. Show them that you don't need them. That's what China is doing. The US put sanctions on China. The Chinese government, the Chinese people, Chinese businesses, not just the government, Chinese businesses were not allowed to buy chips from companies from the US. Right now, if you look at it, there's a thing called AI, ChatGPT and all that stuff. That's doing so well. But the Chinese people didn't give up. You know what they did? They started working hard. They just produced something called DeepSeek. The US didn't expect this to happen, but they produced it at a cheaper price, and it's just as good as ChatGPT. They didn't try to go there to start begging. No, they didn't. But if you believe, if someone slaps you on this cheek, you'll give them the other cheek, you wouldn't do that. You're never going to negotiate anything that makes sense. So you're always going to be the puppet of the matrix. They'll put you this side, you follow. Because you look them up like Jesus Christ. Because you're worshiping a wrong deity. You're reading the wrong book. And you don't know who you are because you never had a chance to study your own history. That's why these people never succeed. You don't need, if you are a president, because I heard someone say this, and they said, oh, because we vote for people who've never built anything. Well, Lee Kuan Yew didn't build anything. He was just educated. Sometimes the only thing you need as a leader is love for your people. Because that way, then you can organize people who are qualified, who are smarter than you in other areas to build things. So what I mean by that, if you want the roads built, you got all the people qualified in your country to say, I need this road built. And you guys come up with a design that we can appreciate. I'll come up with the money. That's it. That's how you get things done as a leader. It's not that complicated. But our leaders in Africa are so far gone that they don't think like that. Because we worship the wrong thing. We follow the matrix. And this is why Ibrahim Traore is doing so well. And I hope this young man is given an opportunity to transform his country so that these other African idiots can learn something from this guy. And this is why I personally believe Trump, in this moment, is probably the right president to have in America. And I hope he stops sending aid to all these African countries. Because these countries have money. They have to realize that there is no such thing as free lunch. If they're giving you $500 million, it means they're taking out $5 billion from you. But you're not realizing it because you're so tunnel visioned. And that's what Ibrahim Traore is not. The OES is waking up. Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. And I hope other countries start joining the OES because that's the new mindset we should have. It's always good to belong to the winning team. It's always great to belong to a powerful team. You don't want to be weak. There's no dignity in weakness and in poverty. None of that. We don't want that. If allowing someone to rip you off for 400 years, at some point, that becomes your fault. Not their fault. Your fault. And other countries are showing this. Remember, China was also colonized. Hong Kong. Other parts of Asia also had the same issues. But today they're saying, no, And this is how they're saying no. This is how they're approaching things. They're not approaching things from a point of powerlessness. They're approaching things from a point of power. And I want you to watch this video. Look what Malaysia is doing to Apple for them to sell their iPhones in Malaysia. Watch.
Told Apple you cannot sell iPhone 16 because there is a rule which basically states that certain smartphones have to contain at least 40% of their parts manufactured locally. Huawei was able to do this, Samsung was able to do this, Apple was not. So Indonesia's like, look, you can't sell here. So Apple said, look, we'll give you $10 million in investment. Indonesia said, no, that's not enough. Apple came back and said, we'll give you $100 million in investment. Indonesia still said that's not enough. Now they're coming back and saying, how about $1 billion in investment?
If Indonesia keeps holding out, they'll be at $1 trillion soon.
Pretty soon, right? And, it's interesting here because Indonesia saw that Apple was putting $14 billion into manufacturing in Vietnam. So they said, what is this $100 million? You can do better than that. And so ultimately, I think they won here. It's an interesting market to follow. Apple only has 2% market share of the phones in Indonesia. But you're talking about the world's fourth largest population, a large young population.
If that was in Africa, they would take it $10 million. Imagine some of the biggest countries in Africa is like Nigeria. Has Nigeria done the same thing for Apple to say if you want to sell our phones in this country, this is what we're gonna do? Apple now is about to give Malaysia $1 billion, so they can invest in industries in Malaysia, in tech industries, for Apple to sell their phones in that country. You know what that country used? They came from a position of power because they knew, I think they're like the third most populous country in the world or top 5. So they have the population. And guess what? The economy is doing well, which means most people now can afford to buy an iPhone. That's an advantage they use. So say if you wanna sell your iPhones here, make sure things are made here. Apple says no, say okay, we gotta give us some money. And Apple initially said 10 million. Now if that was in Africa, they'll take 10 million and the government will come out claiming, oh, we took 10 million. Dumb stuff. Malaysia says no, because they already done their research and they know how much Apple is gonna make in that country. That's called thinking. This is what happens when you know yourselves, you know your culture, you know your history. You start making those decisions. But if you are a person who believes your history started with slavery, you take 10 million. And that's what African leaders do. People are getting mining rights left, right, and center for free. And they even say 5-year tax-free. Why are you doing that? Because deep down you believe you are an idiot. You believe you can't do anything except for people that look like you, Jesus that you worship. I just want to say, Ibrahim Traore, please keep doing what you're doing. And the longer this man stays, I think the more African people are going to wake up. And let's pray for him, for his longevity. Just want to say thank you, and please subscribe. Goodbye.